Good evening, everybody. We have all gathered here, although connected virtually today evening, to pay our respects to our beloved Professor Roy Chally, who left us all yesterday early in the morning. Professor Roy Chally was a legendary urologist, an academician, and a true gentleman. I consider myself to be fortunate to have interacted with such a legend. We have a lot of people who will speak about him, so I do not want to waste too much of time on that. I would now request all of them to stand up for 1 minute as silence to to pay respects to departed soul. Thank you. To start with, I would request the President, USI, Dr. Ravindra Sabnis, to say a few words, following which I would invite people who have had a long and close interaction with Professor Roy Chally to pay their homage. I will be calling out the names of few people. Maybe if time permits, we'll give the other people the opportunity. But to start with, I would now request President USI, Dr. Ravindra Sabnis, to say a few words. Over to you, Dr. Ravindra Sabnis.
Thank you, Keshav. Well, generally, for such type of webinars and when such legendary people are joining, we all get excited and we are all enthusiastic to listen.
Sir, you're muted, I think.
No, it's not muted.
No, we can hear him. We can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear him.
We can hear you.
All right. So basically,
no, I am not able to hear you, sir.
No, but others are listening. There's some problem with your phone.
Keshav, I can hear you. I think well audible.
Navneet.
I think I can hear
Keshav, I could hear
something.
Okay, so I'll continue. As you know, that
Sabnis, I am not able to hear you.
No, Keshav, there is a problem with you. So we are all gathered here to pay homage to to Dr. Roy Chally, who passed away yesterday. We all get excited when such legendary people are joining. But today we are really saddened and we feel sad to speak on the occasion because our beloved teacher, one of our very senior member, is not with us. He passed away yesterday. He was a past president of USI in 94-95. He was secretary of USI from 86 to 90. And during that period, he did a lot of things to USI, and the fruit of his struggle, which he made, and the changes he made, I think we are taking the fruits of that, and we know what struggle he has made. He was so much passionate about the research and so many projects that it was his first pet project of RES Foundation he started, but that subsequently was cancelled. Well, he was instrumental in making teaching program at so many places. He visited many cities, many states, many institutions, and there he inspired the people. So not only his students, but there are so many remote students who are really fascinated by him. In fact, if you see, there are many actors and actresses who have their fan club, like Shah Rukh Khan fan club, Salman Khan fan club. But probably Dr. Roy Chally was the only person, urologist, who had the fan club, and that simply because he was so close to everybody that he never had any enemies. He tried to train, he tried to teach, he tried to advise to everybody who seeked advice. He was so much approachable that anybody felt that he was very close to everyone. For me, I remember him, I'll just take a 1 minute, that when I passed my MCH exam, and there was a Calicut conference 1990. That was the time, for the first time on the USI platform, he gave me the opportunity to be the faculty. I gave a small talk on continent diversion, But that was the first time, and I remember after so many years that my first talk in USI on the USI platform was the one which was given by Dr. Roy Chally when he was secretary, and the conference was in Calicut. Subsequently, there are so many things have happened, but nevertheless, he was the person who was liked by everybody. He was a person to whom there are so many people who are fascinated. Although today he is not with us, but you see there are some little percentage, some little qualities of Roy Chally are there in everybody, not only students, but there are remote students like us who were never formally as a student, but we have picked up so many things from us. So he is not today with us, but his legacy, his qualities, his teaching will always remain with us. And that is what we need to remember. Well, as I must, as a head of the institute or head of the association USI, I offer my deep condolences to his family, not only to his family, but to every member of USI who feel sad and who is in sorrow today. So heartfelt condolences to all of you. Let us pay homage and respect to departed soul, Professor Roy Chally. May his soul rest in peace. Over to you, Kendra.
Thank you, Dr. Sabnis. Now I would invite Dr. Vijay Radhakrishnan, Secretary, the Kerala Association, to make a brief presentation. Over to you, Dr. Vijay.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although all respected seniors and colleagues, although it's a very sad moment, but it's a privilege for me to even talk about Dr. Roy Chally sir, the Guru of Gurus. He left for his heavenly abode yesterday. It's a very sad moment for us. But I would like to just talk about how his journey was through from his childhood. He was born in Malaysia, and then he later migrated to India, shifted to India. He's from a place close to Cochin named Mulandruthi. It's in the outskirts of Cochin city. Then he did his basic schooling and college there in Mulandruthi and then Cochin. Then he went to Trivandrum to complete his MBBS and MS General Surgery from Government Medical College, Trivandrum. He did his MCH urology from AIMS, Delhi in 1969. He came back and joined Kerala Government Service. There were no urology. There was no urology department that time. So he started as tutor in general surgery, and he was part of general surgery department. Initially in Kottayam Medical College, and then in 1970 he was transferred to Calicut, where his real journey in urology started. He gradually started developing the department there, and then finally got as a separate department from general surgery. He started the urology department there around in 1970 in Calicut Medical College, and then he developed the department, and it was one of his dream to get it as one of the premier institutes in India. He started MCH course there in 1981, and he continued to teach students there till 1992, where he retired from Calicut Medical College as professor. Later on, he joined in different private hospitals around Calicut. And finally, he settled down in Baby Memorial Hospital, where he was working till of late, actually. He's been examiner in almost all the universities across the country. He's been the examiner for the National Board. He's been the inspector for the National Board as well as the IMC. He's held almost all the positions that you can in the urology circle, from Kerala to the zonal association, as well as in the US side. He was part of the IJU and the ethics committee as well. So there's not one position that he has not held in his career. Innumerable awards. You name an award, probably he should have got. I'll just mention the important ones from the state, then the urology gold medal from USI, awards for orations in almost all the zonal state associations across the country. He is called the Guru of Gurus, and he's been he's taught in numerous places, in the state, in the zone, in the country, as well as national, international. He was a visiting professor even in Florida University. He's participated as faculty members in many workshops, presented numerous papers, and he's been a postgraduate teacher since 1980 when he started the MCH course in Calicut Medical College. Then in Baby Memorial Hospital, he had DNB students with him. These are some of the photos. These photos I got from Nageshwar Rao sir. I guess he can just tell more about this. These are pictures from UCCon 90, which was held in Calicut. And then this is one of the, he's receiving an award in North Zone conference. This is the annual conference of USI in Vijayawada, 1986. This is probably, he was the president USI meeting. This is one of the, this is the last UACon meeting, the state chapter meeting that he attended. He was there, it was a 3-day meet, and this was held in Trivandrum in 2019. And he was there for all 3 days. He did even one single session. And this is one of the pictures from the inaugural function. Then in 2000, this is late 2019, when the preparations for UCCon 2020 was on. This is with the Calicut Urology Club members and the organizing team of UCCon 2020. He actively participated in that, and then he was a chief guest and the main, he inaugurated UCCon 2020 in Cochin. This is in 2021. Where there was the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the alumni of Trivandrum Medical College. He was part of that. He was. This is the award being given by Mr. Arif Mohammed, the governor of Kerala. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Radhakrishnan. Now I would invite Professor T. Venugopal, with whom he was closely associated for a very long time, to say a few words. Over to you, Dr. Venugopal.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
It's indeed very sad that I lost my good friend, Roy, yesterday. He was not well for a couple of months. That, besides, that's not an important thing. My association with him, as rightly pointed out by Vijay Radhakrishnan, started in 1963, almost 60 years ago, when I joined my MS in general surgery at Trivandrum Medical College, when he was 1 year senior to me, doing MS, the same unit, which is called professional unit. And we had an excellent 1 year at that time. When he finished MCH and finished MS, it glorious colors, and left that institution for better pastures. But our association continued. Both of us became urologists. As rightly said by Vijay Radhakrishnan, he got his MCS in 69. I was fortunate to get in 68. But that's apart. Our association continued and persisted all our life, his life, and will continue even after his departing us. To talk about Roy, many of you have got contact with Roy in various ways and various means. But I think I'll devote a little bit of my time to who Roy was when in his formative years. I think many of you may not know what all he has done during those formative years to make urology what it is today. And that is what is more important, to know the man as a person who began urology and dreamt urology, spoke urology, and digested urology. I think with this thing, one point that comes to my mind is, how many of you know that the starting point of urology in zones and state and cities started at Calicut, called Calicut Urology Club. It was as early as 1977, 78 when Calicut Urology Club was present. And it functioned very well for a long, long time. I think at that time, MSH was not available in many centers. I was fortunate to start in 1977, and he started in 1979, if I remember rightly. Maybe my historical date may not be exactly correct, but it is 1979 that he started MSH Urology. And from that time, our association grew stronger. I used to be a constant visitor to Calicut to start and to participate in Calicut Urology Club. Manipal was considered at that time as a sister institution to Calicut Medical College for all academic activities. And I had the fortune to be present for most of the meetings of Calicut Urology Club. Having said that, where did he proceed further? In 1980, thereabouts, he decided that it's not enough to have a city chapter. It's necessary that we have a state level organization. And efforts were put in by him to start what is now called the UAK, which I think Vijay spoke highly about. It has grown leaps and bounds since its inception. 1979 or thereabouts, as I said, we four, that is Roy Chally, myself, Dr. Augustine, five, I'm sorry, Augustine and Anthony and Samuel, sat in Roy Chally's house and scripted the way and means of starting the Urological Association of Kerala. And that was the beginning of, and that's the first organization that had a state level recognition. Nobody in the country had ever thought of it except Roy Chally and his dedicated team of people. And few names I would like to mention here is late Dr. Subramaniam and V.N. Mani and K. Anyan. These are people who were with him at that time, who made UAK possible, and today it is what it is, as all of you know what it is. Now, these are things that nobody probably thought about at that time, that this is all a man's personal wishes that ultimately culminated into something that we all cherish today. And today for me, even though I am past 80, I still would like to be at an UAK meeting if possible. And that's a love that I have for Roy and what he has done for society. So now, coming next step forward, 1980 or 1979 was a year when Roy got recognition for starting MCH Urology. And I was fortunate enough to be present at the time, not when the instruction was taking place, but a day after that. And we planned out the program that we would like to have for the MCH program in Calicut, as well as associated with Manipal. So we became partners in the teaching program together during that time. And I know there are people like Hamza Tahir, there are people like V.N. Mani, P. Subramaniam. All of them used to come once a month to Calicut, from Calicut to Manipal. And next month, we from Manipal will visit Calicut for a teaching program. This was continuously going on for quite a long time, till I left Manipal for better future. I thought better future, but never better future. Anyway, what is more important for us to know is his attitude, his love, his desire to make urology the #1 specialty in the country. And his dream has come true more or less correctly. I know that we have gone through a lot of struggle at that time. Finance is the one problem that USA faced during the formative years. Today, we are rich, and maybe Krishnamurthy will not agree with that, but we are rich enough to sustain ourselves with all extra that we are seeing today in our conferences. But having said all things, Roy was a humble person. He loved everyone. He wanted urology, and the only breath that he had was always in his eye was how to make urology better. I'm sure many of the speakers today will tell many highlights about his capabilities and his way he has achieved what he did for urological society.
Sir, can
Thank you. I'm sure.
time is a constraint, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I invite Professor Chinanswami, sir, if he's there? Professor CC. Navneet, is Professor CC there?
He's there.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. We can see you. We can hear you also.
Yeah.
Nice seeing you after a long time.
Hello.
Sir, you can speak, sir.
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
It's a very sad occasion that he missed Roy Chally, and this meeting is to console the family about his departure. Roy Chally devoted his whole life to urology, I must say. He cannot, as Venu was saying, he lived urology, he eats, sleep. Every time he was also always thinking of urology. Once myself, Venu, and Roy Chally were having a holiday in Yercaud. 3 days we were spending. There was a talk, at least 15 minutes, you must not think of urology, he said. We had a walk for about an hour, but within 5 minutes, something or other about urology will come to Roy, and he cannot forget urology at any time of his day. He has been a very good host. I don't know if any of you remember, even before the conference at Calicut, many of us stayed with him. And Roy Chally, such a good urologist, such a good teacher, such a good surgeon. Though Trivandrum is the capital of the state, he saw to it that Calicut is this capital for urology in that country. Thank you very much, Keshavamurthy. We pray for Almighty to give peace to his departed soul. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I would invite Dr. Nageshwar Rao, who has been a very close associate of Professor Roy Chally, to say a few words. Over to you, Dr. Nageshwar Rao. Sir, you're muted. You have to unmute, sir.
Okay, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. Keshav, thank you very much, Keshav and Sabnis, for asking me to participate in this. It's really very sad day for me yesterday when I came to know about this. I was in touch with him from December, I think, second, third week. After first, he mentioned that he had, he was suffering from shingles. I don't know whether you know it. Herpes for the last 6 or 7 months. And it continuing, we're having a lot of pain for that. Because of that, he was having now injections to the root injections and also patches. But still, every day he's suffering with that. At that time, on December 11th or so, he had some pain, abdominal pain, for which he said that he needed surgery because the suspected ruptured appendix. I don't know whether all of you know this or not. Then, because he mentioned it, I talked to him after this quite a few times. Then he said, then they found it, there is some adenoCA in the appendix and also probably some in the pancreas or something like that. And after that, I was in touch with him, talked to Mahesh, I talked to Chinanswami, telling this, that he was reluctant to answer, to talk to me after a few times. So then I was in contact with Paulus. He said, Uncle is not really up to it. He kept him in his house. And he came out of that. There was a final diagnosis. I don't know what it is. Then I planned to see him, though I was talking to him, to his wife Annie, who is very close to Sudha also. And as you know that 4 years he was secretary, 94 to 98. Then I took over as secretary in 99. He was a role model for me as far as the Urology Society is concerned. I tried to imbibe what all he was mentioning, but it is impossible to compete with him or to overtake him. So I was satisfied with what I was doing, always under his guidance, and also Venu, Chinanswami, Rautri, they're all good predecessors of mine. And I was the secretary when Rajsekhar, Joshi, Roy, they're all when they were president. And it's my luck that I was the president there 4 years urology as a secretary and then president. Then what happened in the recent times when I was talking about this, then I booked my tickets to Sudha and myself wanted to see him before anything happens to him. We were much, but with the COVID and all that for 2 months we didn't plan. And I booked the tickets on 13th for both of us via Bangalore to reach on 13th evening to Calicut and return on 12th, on 14th. But you see, God made it that way. We couldn't go there because Paulus told that he got admitted on Wednesday into the hospital because of renal failure. But he also told me that as soon as he heard that renal failure, Roy said, no dialysis for him. See, he prepared. He wanted to leave without much suffering. I mean, it's really courageous that he didn't want anything to be done to him when Paulus told me that Dad never wanted dialysis. First thing he told is that. So I thought he will return after 1 week or so. I booked my tickets for 20th Sunday and 21st to return. But unfortunately, I couldn't see him. I couldn't, though Sudha and myself talked to him quite a few times, and also Annie and Roy. I missed one of the greatest. The best thing that I have got from urology to get the genius people like Rautri, Chinanswami, when they were president and take over the president in Vijayawada in 1986. Though I returned to India in 1978, 80 I joined. So I was very happy to be associated with the society. I feel very sad that I lost a colossal friend, a guide, a teacher, a humanitarian, and I don't have enough words to express my feelings about him. I'm a little bit, really, I feel choked if I talk further, and my heartfelt condolences to the family and to all the members of the society. I think we should take him as your role model and follow him. As Chena has said, he was thinking of urology. Probably if he got some fentanyl or pentothal, probably he was talking subconsciously urological society. That's what he instilled in me, for me to do something good, whatever I could do to the urology society. And all of us should take him as a role model and follow his thoughts and execute them and bring out the urology as the hallmark of one of the national societies. I'm sure he left us to heavenly abode on a Hindu day, very auspicious day for Hindus. There's Ekadasi. People wait for that. Bhishma, the Pitamaha of Bharatam, he wanted to wait till Ekadasi comes to Uttarayana. That's what he did. And I'm sure he has the right place at the heavenly abode. And may God bless his Sadgati he has to point. And thank you very much, Sabnis. Thank you very much, Keshav, for asking me to be associated with in this meeting. God bless
Thank you,
you all.
sir. Thank you, sir. Now I invite Professor Mahesh Desai to say a few words. Dr. Mahesh Desai.
Hello.
Yes, Mahesh.
Roy, what can I say? Roy was a friend, philosopher, and guide. And ever since that meeting in 1990, we were associated and we become very close. He has influenced me and he has influenced the way I do my practice, and then he helped me to develop the institute on the scientific basis. We were involved in a project which is known as the RES Foundation, Research, Education, and the Service. And myself, him, and he was the brain. And I still have his letters, which is drafted what we should do, what USI can do for the people. He always thought of what we can do for the patient, what we can do for the young students who are coming up, and that was he was a gem of a person. I think all these years of association has been so fruitful. I know I phoned him few weeks ago when we talked to him for half an hour. And I expressed, I will come and see you. He said, don't come. It's not a good time to come, and then we can talk on the phone. And then he was something which he was so close to what I have done in my life, and he was a part of that life. What I would like to say that I would like to celebrate his life. We are sad, but we would like to celebrate his life because he lived the life the way it has to be lived. He lived for the other people. He lived for the patient. He lived for the students. He lived for the cause, and he lived for all of us, for the friends. And it's when I think of him, I feel warm. I feel warm. Though I may not be able to see him again, I'll talk to him again. But I have his letters, I have his thoughts, I have his memories, and that will keep me warm whenever I'll think of it. So God bless him, and I hope he is in peace. My heart goes to Anne and Paulos and the family. And nevertheless, I mean, this is the life we should celebrate. And with this, I would like to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to say my love to him. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I invite Professor S.D. Bapat? If is there, Professor S.D. Bapat, I was told he is joined.
Yeah, he is there.
Yes, Ravi, I'm there.
Yes, we can hear you.
I really feel very sad that I'm talking about my friend Roy, about his untimely demise, when he has left all of us in grief. It was in January that I called him to give him New Year greetings. And he told me at that time that he had just recovered from an operation of perforative peritonitis, appendicitis, he told me. But he says he has made a good recovery. But one thing that he told me was rather disturbing. And he told me that the lymph nodes that they detected showed evidence of metastatic pancreatic tumor. Now, this was really disturbing, very shocking, because we all know that metastatic pancreatic tumor means almost certainly a fatal outcome. I talked to him for quite some time and told him that you make an effort to get a good recovery, just the way I have recovered from a major operation. And he told me all about my operation. So he was keen to talk to me about my operation. Roy was really a friend of everyone who came in contact with him. Somehow he had that kind of a charm which was always there on his face, and you could not miss it. Extremely soft spoken, gentle. I think this man must never have hurt anybody by his words, but would have only made everybody, those who came in contact with him, very happy for the way he has treated him. And most people will have very, very pleasant memories about their association with Roy. It was in the late 90s that my association with him increased considerably. And it was he who supported us who were trying to organize a Millennium Urology Conference in New Delhi. And he lent a very supporting hand to all of us. He said that I'm with you, entire South is with you for this conference. And indeed, this was shown by him by his very active involvement in the Millennium International Urology Conference. However, I came more closer to him when he came to Nadia. He was keen that Paulos should be with us and should be trained at Nadia. He was very keen. And we were very happy to have Paulos with us. And it was after his admission to Nadia that Roy's meeting were more frequent, and it was a pleasure to be associated with him, to exchange views and various feelings. That time I realized what a warm person he is and how he is going to leave a mark of what a great and lovable person he has been. As far as I'm concerned, he has always been a very close friend and guided me. And each time we met, it was a lasting impression on my mind. It was therefore extremely sad when I learned just 2 days ago about his sad demise. I knew this was coming, but we all know that this sort of thing will happen, but we do not want this to happen. Roy was a very, very broad-minded and a nice personality. And it's a sad moment for all of us that he is not with us any longer. I take this opportunity to give my personal tribute, my personal Shraddhanjali, and would like to express my condolences to him, to Paulos, and to all the members of Roy's family. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would invite Professor N.P. Gupta, if he is there, to speak a few words. Dr. N.P. Gupta.
It's very sad for me to know that we have lost our very dear friend, Professor Roy Chally. You all heard about his contribution from South India, but I remember that he did his MCH Urology from All India Institute of Medical Science in 1969. And I have started meeting him around 1978. Whenever we used to meet, he will always inquire about what is happening in the AIIMS, how is the teaching program, what are the new developments. So he was very keen. He was very fond of Professor Surinder Mansingh. And we always used to have a Amsonian group photograph during all our UCCon meetings. And I'm very sad to know that we have lost him. He was a good friend, very thorough gentleman, very humble person, and he's always like a guide or well-wisher for all of us. I miss him for a long time. I pay my condolences to Paulos and Mrs. Roy Chally and family members, and pray God for peace for the departed soul. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, can I invite Professor S.V. Kandaswamy to say a few words?
I'm not able to unmute. Okay. Friends, I can't believe, can you hear me?
Hear you, sir.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. I can't believe that Professor Chally is not here today. I have a special relationship with Professor Chally. He's way back in the early 90s. He used to invite me as a faculty for ureteroscopic workshops in Calicut Medical College. Being a very conservative person, I used to hesitate a lot, but he pushed me actually. So he said, "Come here, I'm here, I will help you whatever is necessary." And of course, they were all very, very interesting workshops. Good old days with 12.5 French ureteroscopes and lithoclasts. And so he was instrumental in my getting into this as a faculty in workshops in various centers. So that way, I would like to thank him. And of course, my wife also had a special relation with his wife because they used to meet in the conferences, and she fondly remembers how even the recent Cochin conference, she took my wife to the temples around Cochin. And so both of us convey our condolences to Mrs. Chally, Paulos, and the rest of the family. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Can I now invite Professor Suresh Bhatt, who is the president of the Kerala Association, to say a few words?
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, teachers and friends. Yesterday was a very sad day for all of us because we lost our beloved teacher and mentor, Professor Roy Chally. Professor Roy Chally started the Department of Urology at Kottayam Medical College way back in 1969 after getting his MCH from AIMS. Later, he got transferred to Calicut and established one of the best urology departments in India. His students are all spread all over India, and some of them are the best in India. His equal commitment to patient care and investigation inspired more than 2 generations of students, residents, and young faculty through his exemplary career. I did my MBBS and MS at Calicut Medical College. During our final MBBS, we had urology classes by Professor Roy Chally, and the classes were invariably from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. He taught us the very basics of urology at length, and the classes used to be full on those days. During my MS, we had 1 month urology posting. He made me do ureterolithotomy and pyelolithotomy. So that was a great opportunity for me, and that's how I got interested in urology. When I was in Calicut as assistant professor, sir was working in Baby Memorial Hospital. Whenever I was free, I used to go to BMH, Baby Memorial Hospital, and used to assist him. I learned a lot of tricks and tips from sir. Sir was an inspiration to all academic urologists. Actually, sir was a brilliant man and wore many hats that he interchanged comfortably and appropriately. He fulfilled many commitments to his family, to urology, to his faith, and community at large. When guiding young men and women into urology, sir was realistic and always positive. He was always reliable and consistent in his message. His messages were always very loud and clear. He was an epitome of knowledge and skill and wisdom. We used to refer complicated cases to sir for opinion. It was a feast to the eyes to watch him operate. He had all 3 virtues of a great mentor, that is vision, voice, and vocation. Sir's good work and mission will be alive His vision and mission will be carried forward by the Urological Society of Association of Kerala. We will always remember you, sir. May the great soul rest in peace. Almighty, please give his family members lots of courage to pass this hard time. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, sir. Can I invite Dr. Abdul Aziz, who has been very closely associated with him for a long time, to speak a few words? Dr. Abdul Aziz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know what to talk because my mindset now does not allow me to speak much. Having associated with him for about 4 decades, now I feel like an orphan. What I am today is just because of him and him only. And I don't know. I mean, he has been instrumental to everything what I have achieved and what I am today. It is a big loss. It can never be replaced or repaired. I have nothing much to talk because I feel like an orphan, or really an orphan now. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I invite Dr. Hamza, who is also associated with him, to speak a few words? Dr. Hamza.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you, Krishnamurthy, for giving me this opportunity. Professor Roy Chally, we in Calicut all are we only because of Professor Roy Chally. I had been a student, I had been a friend to him later, and he has been my mentor, philosopher, and guide. And if you have to say about the quality of a man, they say that you have to travel with him. And I have traveled with Professor Roy Chally for many, many occasions. And not once I had any reason to grouse. Actually, I remember one occasion wherein we went to Ranchi, wherein I had my wife also with me, who was little incapacitated. And can you imagine, Professor Roy Chally took all the bags of her and was literally carrying it on his bald head. When I was even asking him not to do it. But then that was Professor Roy Chally to us. He was a teacher, he was one among us, and he always will be remembered. And as somebody has opined, it is only that we will cherish and we will follow his footsteps. That is the only one thing which we can do to him at this moment. My pranams to my great teacher.
Thank you, sir. Can I invite Dr. Sanjay Kulkarni, President-elect USI, to say a few words?
When I returned from England in 1987, he was the leader in Urology Society of India, and then I met him multiple times. At that time, there were no zonal conferences, not many workshops, and initially we were dependent only on attending USI once a year to learn about new techniques, because going abroad was not easy at that time. And then once the laparoscopic surgery started, he invited Professor Mahesh Desai, myself and others to one of the earlier live laparoscopy workshops. And I still remember operating on a 12-year-old boy with for laparoscopic pyeloplasty. I knew Professor Roy Chally for a long period of time, and he was a perfect gentleman, and it was always a joy to discuss urology with him. So I pay my respect to him for the departed soul and pay my condolences to the bereaved family. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I invite Dr. Mallikarjun Reddy, President of the Association of Southern Urologists, to say a few words? Dr. Mallikarjun Reddy.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. I always feel that legends like Roy sir would they leave only to ascend to become stars, so that we always look up, and then they always shower their light on us so that we can still be guided by their light. We are quite young as far as Roy sir was concerned, because I was born 1 year before he completed his MCH. But the amount of time I could spend in the conference halls of ASU and USI, and then speak to him and also listen to him speaking about a particular issue, gave me an insight saying that, okay, no, this is the way you need to go forward. He was a guiding light. Even today, I do remember a few occasions where he has told, no, Malik, you'll have to do like this, or this had to be presented like this. So absolutely someone who was selfless in teaching. In saying that, I echo all the sentiments of all the previous speakers. And ASU, along with the USI, plays great homage. Again, I think we always look at him as a star. And may his soul rest in peace at this point. Keshav sir and Sabnis sir, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Mallikarjun. Can I invite Dr. D. Ramesh to say a few words? Dr. Ramesh? If Ramesh is not there.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead. Yeah, I bow humbly in front of the USI to pay homage to the legend, Professor Roy Chally. We are a generation for whom he was a teacher. And for those of us who trained in Manipal under Professor PVG, Calicut was a second home to us. In fact, it was like a second unit to all of us who trained in neurology at Manipal. Virtually every month, either we used to go to Calicut or Professor Roy Chally used to come to Manipal for the teaching sessions. And the innumerable number of teaching sessions he had with us was amazing. He was a very patient man, very soft in his teaching skills. And both Professor PVG and Professor Roy Chally were opposites. Professor PVG was very aggressive. Professor Roy Chally was very soft-spoken. And he used to often counsel the boys at Manipal. I know how Venu is, don't get upset with him. He means well. And that was our teaching days. And he was an inspiration to all of us, always telling us to do research and put evidence, the foot of evidence forward. And subsequently, as a professional, numerous occasions that I've interacted with Professor Roy Chally, especially the 4 years of my stint as secretary. I've called him up numerous times for seeking advice on how to take the society forward. He has called me numerous times with his own personal suggestions. And one of his dreams was, along with Professor CC, which is probably unfulfilled, is to have a 5-year program in neurology. Professor Roy Chally and both Professor Roy Chally and Professor CC have spoken to me on numerous occasions to have a 5-year program in neurology. And I'm happy to inform that just 2 years ago, I was awarded the Professor Roy Chally oration. And within 10 minutes after I delivered the oration in his name, he sent me a message congratulating me and saying it was a wonderful talk. And it is a severe loss to all of us in our generation who have been his students. And I pay homage to this great man. And my condolences to Paulus Chally and Madam Chally, and pray to God to give strength to the family to bear this loss. Thanks, USI, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh. Can I invite Tanuj Paul Bhatia, who is a student, to say a few words? Tanuj?
Good evening, sir. Thank you for allowing me to speak. So I'll just speak very shortly. For me, Professor Roy Chally sir is practically urology. Until I'm alive as a urologist, sir stays on with me. From sir, we have learned more what not to do than actually what to do. And probably that is the mantra to a good practice, not to get into everything unless you have good at it. And thank you again for this opportunity. We are really shocked by sir's demise. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tanuj. Can I invite Dr. Madhu Agarwal if he is there? Dr. Madhu Agarwal?
He may not be here because he had some problem.
He was logged in. He had told me that he would speak. Dr. Prasad? Dr. Prasad, you can speak a few words.
Keshav, Dr. Ganesh has logged in or not?
Ganesh, I'm not able to see, sir.
Okay. Because he was keen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I am not able to see.
Dr. Sabnis, Dr. Keshav, and all the teachers of urology, I think we are all saddened by the untimely demise of Professor Chally. The last time we met him at Calicut was on 25th of September 2021, when we were inaugurating the office space of Urological Association of Kerala at Calicut IMA Hall. I called him and said, sir, there is a small function, and because of the COVID, it is not a big function. Anyway, you should be coming and inaugurating that the office. And he asked, where is the office space you have found? I said, sir, it is IMA house in Calicut. He said, there is no IMA house in Calicut. It's IMA hall. So this is the precision which he has on everything. And then he came, he was there, inaugurated the office space, and then we had dinner. And then people were telling, the Calicut group was telling, may not come for dinner because he cannot strain that much. But to our surprise, he came, he was very happy. And that is the sort of a person he has. And whenever he sees us, he'll always ask, how are you? And how is the work going on? And he used to tell me that there is no point in telling that you operated, you have done this, this should be published, you should present it in conferences, then only you become you good academician. But then in a private setup, it is not a very possible thing. Anyway, sir, we had the Kerala urology, many of the urologists could assemble at Cochin to pay our last respects to him yesterday night, 7:38, when the body was kept for viewing in one of the apartments in Cochin, and we could convey our respects to Madam and Paulus, and a great person, great urologist. In fact, Calicut was known as the Mecca of urology. And it is because of the great doyen of urology, Professor Chally. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And our heartfelt condolences to Paulus, Madam, and all the members of the family in bereavement. May God bless him, bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I invite Professor Rajiv Sood to say a few words? Professor Rajiv Sood.
Thank you, Dr. Keshav, for I'm so saddened, and it is beyond imagination that we are now amongst us. We are not going to see physically Dr. Chally. I remember that, in fact, he completed his MBBS 2 years before I was born. He was such a senior urologist, perfect teacher. And when I was doing my activities in 1990, he used to guide. He was our senior in AIMS, and he was in our alumni meetings. He used to say and remind us all juniors that you know me, I am your senior, I am your senior, one of the senior most alumni member. So in 90s, he guided me, and in 2004, when I was wondering how to conduct my North Zone conference as organizing secretary, I was so much impressed that I insisted that he deliver the guest lecture in our zone, and that was the association started, and continuously I was really he used to appreciate all the efforts which are good for Urology Society of India, which are good for urology and as a whole. And he appreciated the Indian School of Urology so much in the general body in Kochi that I was so much happy that he suggested in the general body that how to conduct and how to go forward in developing urology. We all are going to miss him. And as our alumni meetings of AIMS, Delhi, the Amsonians, we will always miss him in our photographs. And I express my sadness, the feeling of vacuum. Without him, we all are bereaved. And we'll always remember you, sir. You are always our guiding force. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Sood. Can I invite Dr. PVLN Murthy to say a few words? Dr. PVLN Murthy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Keshav and Sabnis, for arranging this Shraddhanjali to our beloved teacher. This is really a shocking news. A day before we were discussing about our teachers, and we just heard about his demise the next day. It is a rare coincidence, but Professor Chally is our teacher. While we were doing MCH, we used to attend Calicut Urology Club and also CME programs. He used to tell us that the small meetings, because the standards of discussion in Calicut urology were very high. He used to tell us a small meeting really justifies or really justified the standards of discussions. And the urology is his passion. He was very meticulous. I think many of us have seen that sitting in the most of the meetings, he used to sit in the front and take the notes. And whenever we mentioned a new point, he used to come and ask where this point was given and give me the reference. That was his inquisitive. And once Professor H.S. Bhatt said, because somebody said, there's no doubt that I have never seen him hurting somebody or talking very harsh to anybody. But Professor H.S. Bhatt once said that Roy looks very gentle and soft-spoken, but his core is very hard. Yes, he is very tough as far as the urology training is concerned, patient care, and also the teaching. So I convey my heartfelt condolences to Paulus and Madam Chally, because she used to attend to almost all USI meetings. She was a part of our USI society. So may his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Last, I would invite Dr. Sivaramakrishnan to say a few words. Dr. Sivaramakrishnan.
Sir, good evening. Good evening to all the urology faculty. Am I audible?
You're audible.
President sir and Secretary sir, I am a very, very mute disciple. I am also an Amsonian, and Dr. Roy Chally was head and shoulders above me. He was, if my memory serves me right, the second Amsonian. The first time I met this gentle giant, that is how I will describe him, because I am all of 5 feet 6 inches in height, and Roy Chally sir is, I think, 6 feet 2. I met him in one conference in at this place in Guwahati. That was one of the first conferences I was attending. So I told him, sir, I am Sivaramakrishna from All India Institute. He gave me a gentle pat on the back and he said, you have a lot of things to learn, nice things to learn, son. And then the next time I met him, of course, was when Ramesh and we all went for that conference in this thing, for that endourology conference. which was in North Kerala. There I was able to talk to him, and I found him to be a very gentle and very, very engaging soul. It's my misfortune because being in whatever circumstances as a serving armed forces personnel, I was not able to regularly interact. But he was a doyen and he was a larger than life personality who has contributed and who has dictated terms to Urological Society of India. And I personally had only 2 meetings with sir. And in those 15-20 minutes, he touched me personally. And I'm sure people who have interacted with him on a daily basis would have been changed much, much more forever. Keshav, I must tell you this, it was actually a shocking news. We all know that as we grow old, all of us have to pass on. But I still remember him tapping on my shoulder, ki God bless Roy Chally sir and give him everlasting peace. And the family I don't know personally, but I'm sure they are proud that we are all proud of him. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to all. Jai Hind to Urological Society.
Thank you, Shiva. With
My
this, I
pleasure,
think
sir.
we will have to close this because we have passed 5 minutes more than what we allotted time. I must thank all the members who joined in. It is, as Professor Mahesh Desai told, we should celebrate his life. He was a legend in urology, and I had numerous occasions to interact with him. He was always encouraging, and he also encouraged me when I lost as a secretary. He told, don't worry, you have always, the next time you should contest. So he was always encouraging, he was always positive, optimistic, and we will miss Professor Roy Chally sir. This vacuum cannot be replaced, and USI has lost a great personality. Thank you all of you for joining.
Jai Hind sir, I second your opinion, and RIP Roy Chally sir.
Thanks, Keshav, for arranging this. It was wonderful. I think this is the best way we can give tribute to a legend. We would normally tend to do this during the UCCon, but I think this is the right platform, and a lot of us who logged in who were dear to him. He was dear to us. And yeah, I think it was a good thing that Sabnis and Keshav have thought about this. It's a good gesture by the US.